You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Hello, beautiful people. Happy Thursday, happy Jupiter day, and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. Hello, Rachel. Hi, Nick. We have people joining us already this morning. Let's start off with our celebrity birthdays so I don't forget our notable birthdays. Blake Lively is a Virgo. This just makes sense to me. You know, her fashion style, impeccable. I think she has some Leo placements as well, which is why she can be a little more dramatic, but definitely giving those Virgo vibes. Sean Connery is a Virgo. Tim Burton is a Virgo. Interesting. Alexander Skarsgård, again, very Virgo vibes. Rachel Bilson, Claudia Schiffer, Gene Simmons is a Virgo. Billy Ray Cyrus is part of the Virgo club. I did not know this. I love him even more now. Let's see. Anyone else? This is Melissa McCarthy's husband, Ben Falcone, I think is how you say his name. Yeah, lots of notable Virgos. Rachel Ray, too. Makes sense. Regis Philbin. Wow, they just keep on coming today. They just keep on coming. George Corley Wallace, Justin Upton. Wow. Well, if you're a Virgo, welcome to our season, and let me know in the comments if you're celebrating a birthday today or if you know someone who's celebrating a birthday so we can celebrate them too. Hi, Maribel. Happy to see you here. Hello, Danny. Today is your 40th birthday. Happy birthday, Nick. And what a notable birthday, too. August 25th, 1982 at 1:20 p.m. Been 2 years to the day since my father died. I remember you saying that. 7 days since my dad's cat, Stripe, passed away. Honoring all of the beautiful souls that came into your life to shape who you are, and honoring you today. Happy birthday, Nick. So grateful you're part of our community and very grateful to have another Virgo joining us. Hi, Corby. Yes, happy birthday. Good morning to all. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, let me know how you're feeling. Rachel says, sadly, yesterday was a triggering day, but this morning I decided to lean into the Leo moon, serenaded my cats with song and dance. What a great way to start the day, especially under a Leo moon. Yeah, surrender through play. We talked about this a lot yesterday, but giving ourselves credit for how much we've grown, how much we've experienced in this past cycle. I was lucky enough to attend a dark moon ceremony last night with my beautiful friend Reva hosting it, and she's a breathwork facilitator and a spiritual coach. So she facilitated this dark moon circle. And of course, we often talk about circles for the new moon and the full moon, but it was really beautiful to just sit in the energy of the dark moon, which is what we're in right now, this phase right before the full moon, when the sky is dark, right? And it's a very introspective time. It's a time to surrender, to kind of come home to ourselves and appreciate, like I said, everything that we've accomplished, all the growth in this past cycle, all the chaos in this past cycle. It's been a wild one, and just meet ourselves where we're at before we start another chapter. So honoring all the feelings, honoring everything that came up over the past cycle, and giving yourselves credit for how far we've all come. Yay! Hi Bailey. Happy to see you here. just popping on to say hello, send love to all. Have a great appointment and happy to see you in the comments and just happy you dropped in. I love that. I love that. Happy birthday to Nick. All right, well, it seems like we're starting the day in a good mood, most of us. We love to see that. Grateful for all of your fabulous energy in the comments. The sun is in Virgo, the moon is in Leo, and today we're talking about a major planetary shift. Mercury will move into Libra tonight. So Mercury is going to be at the anaretic degree most of the day today. It's important, just first and foremost, we might feel like blurting things out. We might feel a little restless with our communication, maybe more harsh and critical with our words and thoughts because Mercury is in the notoriously critical sign of Virgo. So just slow down if you can. Mercury in Virgo wants us to move very quickly as well. Take it slow, pace yourself today. Just want to start off the forecast with that note. But we also have another transit to talk about, and that's Venus squaring the north and south nodes. So a lot of people were feeling that Venus activation yesterday. I had a lot of people commenting, saying they were feeling the love, feeling healing through love, as we talked about with Venus trine Chiron. And today, Venus sits right between the north and south nodes, so marking this destined turning point in relationships, love, money, and in our values. Definitely a good mood. We love that energy in the comments. Ooh, officially staying off social media today, really feeling that Mercury activation. I could see that, definitely. Feeling a little triggered by social media, or I see also Mercury at the anaretic degree of Virgo as being quick to judge. So being quick to make judgments, quick, again, kind of being harsh. So if you notice that coming up, take a break from social media, take a break from the conversation. You have the awareness, so you don't have to make that choice if you notice the pattern popping up. Okay, let's start with this Venus T-square, though. Here's a look at the chart. And the Venus T-square was exact at 8:11 a.m., so we're really feeling that right now. And we can see, where are you, Venus? Venus at 17 degrees of Leo, and the north node at 16 degrees of Taurus, the south node at 16 degrees of Scorpio. So there's that square playing out kind of loosely right now, although it should be more exact, but the exact time, let me just triple check this. Let's see, Venus, August 25th, 8:11 a.m. Yeah, Venus squaring the north and south node. I guess Venus does move fairly quickly. So anyway, what does this energy mean for us? Well, when we have one square, there's tension. When we have two squares with the same planet in the middle of both squares, it's called a T-square. So I'm going to jump back. I just want to see if I can get the chart to show us. Are you going to? Maybe it's because it's the north and south node. It doesn't want to play along today. Mercury at the anaretic degree, me trying to force it to do what I want it to do. Okay, so anyway, you get the point. Venus, north, south node. Okay, so Venus in this T-square becomes the focal point. Anytime there's a planet in the middle of the T-square, that planet is the focal point. And Venus rules our love, money, and beauty. It rules our values. So anytime we have a T-square with the north and south node, I see that planet, that energy at a turning point. The north and south nodes are often referred to as the points of fate or the points of destiny. They represent the axis of the moon. All of our eclipse cycles are on the north and south node or based on the north and south node. So anytime we have a major activation with them like this, it's kind of just this karmic or fated turning point. Today's a great day to mark a turning point in relationships. I definitely see that with Venus in Leo, kind of bringing some romance. You might be feeling more loving today. But in general, the South Node represents our karmic past, even past lives. So there is an element of releasing, kind of forcing us to release past patterning or past beliefs, past values. And the North Node represents our karmic purpose, our destiny, the energy we're here to embody and learn more of every day. So it really feels like with Venus in the middle of the North and South nodes, like today is that point where we say, okay, I no longer want to be this way, value this thing. Instead, I'm going going to move in this direction. And it should be pretty clear at this point what that looks like for you. Again, this could have to do with close relationships, not just romantic relationships, platonic relationships too. It could do with money. Maybe it's a belief about money that's been popping up that you know that you need to release, but today is the day where you can finally turn the corner on it. Because literally when we have a T-square, it's a corner. You know, Venus is at the corner. And so it's like turning a corner. Or beauty. It could just, today would be a great day for mirror work. You know, a turning point in beauty. So maybe you have been wanting to change up your appearance in some way. Today would be a great day to do it. Maybe a bold change, and you kind of have the courage with Venus and Leo today to turn that corner. Or you've been working on your home and you want to change the aesthetic a little bit. Venus is all about beauty, value, love, money. So turning points in all of these areas are possible. This Venus, always I say, like, look at where Leo is in your chart, because Venus has so many different connotations. It's what we're that was weird. Venus is what we're attracted to. So that is such a broad scape of things, right? Like, we're all attracted to different things. We have different attraction styles. So look at what area of your chart is ruled by Leo, specifically about the midpoint of Leo, 16 degrees of Leo, and see maybe if that is shaping this turning point, or your values in that area of your life are shifting. For example, if Leo rules your second house, then you likely are seeing a turning point in money. But if Leo rules your seventh house, this probably has to do more with relationships. As always, you can get a free copy of your birth chart up there. Scan the QR code. There's a link down in the description. But you know, that can be really helpful, because Venus, especially with the North and South node, these concepts can feel very vague and big, like it's a turning point, you know. But looking at your own chart and what's coming up for you, what's been coming up for you, what nudges has the universe been giving you to release, to push in a different direction, and really embodying that shift, that turning point today can be really powerful. I love this transit. And come back to value. It could be physical value, you know, beauty. What do you value physically? It could be monetary value, and it could be relational values. What do you value in your relationships? But on some level, there will be a turning point in values, love, money, and beauty today. My Chiron is at 16 degrees in Leo. Wow, this is a powerful aspect for you, Rachel, happening right on your Chiron. So for you, this is a really powerful moment of healing. And how have your values shifted around healing? Also, with it being in your 11th house, your community values shifting. You know, who do you want to surround yourself with? That can be very healing for you. How are you showing up? If you've been kind of afraid to show up in a community or in a bigger space, this could be a really great activating transit for you. So yeah, love that. I love that this is, I mean, it's probably not the most fun experience you've been going through, but Venus adds some love into the healing process, and this could be a really powerful day for you. Leo in the 9th house with Venus in Leo. Another Venus in Leo friend. So we're going to have our Venus returns. You might have already had yours depending on what degree Venus is at for you. Venus in the 9th house. This feels like a very expansive turning point for you. So your values around expansion, sharing, travel, that might be shifting for you right now, especially because it's your birthday, right? So this is a beautiful energy to play with on your birthday, this turning point, this embodying the next version of yourself. And for you, this just feels like a very expansive energy with it being in the 9th house, very abundant. Leo rules your 10th house. So for you, it might be a turning point in your career. If it's happening near your midheaven too, there's also this element of visibility, being seen with Venus in Leo. How are you showing up? Are you proud of your career? How can you be more proud? What do you value with your long-term goals, and how can you embody those things more? Beautiful reflections. So that is Venus in this T-square to the North and South nodes. That was exact at 8:11 a.m., but we're really feeling the energy all day, and here's why. I'm going to get to Mercury and Libra in just a second, but first I want to talk about what's going on with the moon, because it really plays into this energy. Rachel says this week makes so much more sense. The energy, relationships have been the main trigger, and with the North Node, just recognizing who I want in my life, especially with that 11th house energy. It's like, who are your people? Who do you want to surround yourself with? Are they adding value to your life? Sure, they might be triggering you, and that can add value in a weird way, people triggering you, because it forces you to grow and evolve, right? It's kind of, we want things to just be shiny and happy and easy all the time, especially with your Libra placements. But, you know, sometimes we need people in our community that kind of trigger us and push us to be the next best version of ourselves. Just got referred to a job from a friend and spoke with the owner already. Wow, I love this. A turning point for you, right? Big turning point. All good, all good. Even though I'm a Virgo, I don't judge typos, I promise. So let's talk about how the moon is playing into this. Let's see here. At 4 p.m., the moon comes into a conjunction with Venus. So you can see the moon inching its way closer to Venus in Leo. And once the moon comes into this conjunction, it's also squaring the north and south nodes. So although this T-square was already exact this morning, the moon really extends the energy, because 4 p.m., late afternoon, early evening, we're feeling the emotional aspect of this turning point. What's really beautiful, though, a conjunction between the moon and Venus allows us to align with love more easily and be more playful in relationships with that Leo moon. Surrender in our relationships, surrender to love in a lot of ways. So when the moon comes into this conjunction with Venus, squares the north and south node, it's like this emotional realization of this turning point we just talked about. And we can have more love, more loving emotions, more affection, it just feels like it softens a little bit with the moon conjunct Venus, even in the fiery sign of Leo. It's like we're able to see the love, take the love more easily, receive the love, give the love more easily, and that can help us kind of turn that final corner, round that final corner. Is that what I'm trying to say? You know, like really push us in this, along this turning point with more love. So love that. Love, love, love. Yeah, but I wanted to talk about the moon there. We'll talk about the last transit the moon makes. We're going to kind of go back and forth, basically in chronological order today, but just wanted to point that out, that the moon is really playing into this aspect today as well. So if you're feeling like there's something on your heart that you just need to say, especially with Mercury at the anaretic degree, if it's something loving, just say it today. You know, let that be what you blurt out rather than something harsh or critical. If there's something positive or loving that you just feel like saying to someone, today is the day to say it. And just a simple comment, a simple I love you, a simple you mean so much to me, I value you so much in my life, I love the value you bring to my life. That can be the turning point in itself, just being willing to express our love. So, full encouragement to share the love today. All right, let's go back to another main transit, and that would be Mercury entering Libra. Mercury enters Libra it's late tonight. It's about 6 p.m., so not too late, but this evening. Mercury is at the anaretic degree all day until 6 p.m. Pacific time. So we know Mercury is at home in Virgo. So Mercury, it's really been bringing a lot of clarity over the past 3 weeks. We've been more, attuned to clear communication, making sure that we're being effective and efficient and productive. And the speed has been pretty quick over the past 3 weeks. It's kind of like Mercury and Virgo picked up the pace, made time fly. It feels like, maybe that's just me, but it feels like feels like Mercury just moved into Virgo. Like it's like a time blip or something. Mercury and Libra Although it's not as powerful as a placement, it does soften the energy a little bit. So let's talk about the energy of Mercury in Libra. And remember, Mercury goes retrograde in Libra. So Mercury is already in its shadow period right now. And that could play into this Mercury in Libra energy, but Mercury will be in Libra, go retrograde September 9th, and then move back into Virgo sometime in September. What's the exact date? Let me tell you, because Mercury is still in Virgo and we need exact dates and times. Let's see, Mercury moves back into Virgo on September 23rd. So right after Libra season begins, kind of this flip-flop of energies. And then it will move back into Libra in October, I believe. Yeah, it'll station direct October 2nd and then enter Libra October 10th. So we're going to be playing in this Libra Virgo energy for a while. Let's talk about the energy of Mercury in Libra, though. And this can kind of help us to prepare for Mercury retrograde in Libra, to understand the light and darkness, the pros and cons of Mercury in Libra, so we know what to look out for in communication breakdowns, right? My birthday is September 18th, so I actually won't be live with you all on my birthday. I will be traveling, but we can celebrate before or after, for sure, all together. Okay, Mercury in Libra. So Libra is the sign of the scales, of course. It represents balance, relationships, being able to find common ground, find harmony. So we can expect, with Mercury being the planet of communication, our words to get a little lighter and gentler. We want to rationalize things through bouncing them off other people, through relating to other people. We came from the very precise energy of Mercury in Virgo. We've been feeling like we need things done exactly and perfectly. Mercury in Libra is more like finding balance and harmony. You'll notice a little bit more of like people-pleasing tendencies in your communication, wanting to make sure other people understand, wanting to make sure that we're communicating in a way that's really fair and diplomatic. And also, when we are thinking about things, we're thinking about all the different outcomes, or weighing a lot of different options. So this can make us a little bit more indecisive, right? Libra energy is known for being indecisive, but that's because we're able to see multiple perspectives and kind of weigh them against each other. So this can make for more collaborative and diplomatic conversations, but because Libra is a sign of justice, and also because we can see multiple perspectives at once, it does make for an energy of debate, right? So like, you know, I see your perspective, but what about this perspective? And that can be really healthy and positive. Healthy debate is a good thing, but it can also create a little tension or argument if you're always needing to bring up another perspective. I have Mercury in Libra and Mars in Libra, so I am guilty of this, and I notice this about myself, like always playing devil's advocate, always being like, but what about this? But what about this perspective? I know that you're irritated about this, but what if they were thinking this? You know, so that can, I bring that up because when Mercury stations retrograde in Libra, how we're communicating, how we're offering alternative perspectives could be misconstrued as being argumentative. So we want to be really careful about playing devil's advocate and how that comes across, and maybe putting in a little caveat in there like, I hear what you're saying, I just want to offer this other perspective. I'm not trying to convince you either way, you know, or just like some sort of disclaimer. Hey, Mercury's in Libra. I'm not trying to argue with you. I just kind of want to explore a few different perspectives first. It'll be more natural to have collaborative conversations with Mercury in Libra and bring up all these graphics to just kind of show the energy of Mercury, the energy of Libra, definitely more flirtation in our communication, more kind of going back and forth, that like fun little light energy, and more contemplation as well, because not only does Mercury rule our communication between other people, but our thought process with ourselves. So you might find yourself exploring a lot of different concepts, or like, should I do this or this, and kind of getting stuck in your head, stuck in that analytical loop. So just fair warning, you might find yourself dwelling on all the different possibilities of things. Now, Mercury retrograde is notorious for tech glitches and travel issues. I don't see that being as activated with Mercury and Libra. Yes, anytime Mercury goes retrograde, we have those things. But with Libra energy in the mix, I'm hoping it kind of, personally, I'm hoping, because I will be traveling during Mercury retrograde, I'm hoping it kind of brings more balance and harmony to this Mercury retrograde. You know, when Mercury moves back into Virgo, that's a different story. But, you know, I'm hoping that there's more ease in this Mercury retrograde because of the Libra influence. We'll see, knock on wood. But yeah, Mercury and Libra. I personally love it. I'm biased because I have it. But it's just a great time to have collaborative conversations. If you're doing any sort of teamwork or partnerships in your business, in life in general, this is a great time to have those conversations. Also, to have conversations about your relationship status. Maybe do that before Mercury stations retrograde, but you know, having that talk of like, where are we at? Not trying to pressure you, really trying to keep the peace and the balance and the harmony, but like, I want to have like a loving conversation about our relationship right now, and not even forcing like, where do we need to go? Just like, how are you feeling about the relationship? I just want to check in and see your perspective about how things are going. That can be a really nice way to use this energy as well. Devil's advocate is fun to make a conversation more well-rounded. Yes, absolutely. I love that. I personally love going back and forth about different perspectives, but I know it ruffles other people's feathers sometimes, especially people who are more prone to arguing. Like, sometimes people can't handle constantly being like, but what about this? But what about this? You know, it pisses them off. So just something to keep in mind. Again, because Mercury stations retrograde in Libra, often our intentions can be misconstrued in communication. So even just, like I said, stating those intentions, like, it's not my intention to argue with you. I just want to explore a lot of different concepts. Personally, that makes me feel better about coming to a conclusion when I explore all of the possible outcomes or several different perspectives of the situation, even if I already have a gut feeling about the decision I'm going to make. Sometimes it's helpful for me to play devil's advocate and just explore the other outcomes. So, you know, just an example of some words you could use that are nice and diplomatic. Also, negotiations, great with Mercury and Libra because of that diplomatic energy, the ability to see other people's perspectives, easily understand other people's perspectives. If you have to negotiate anything, again, try to do it before Mercury stations retrograde or after Mercury stations retrograde. So before September 9th, after October 10th, even though we're still in the shadow period, I think you'd be safe to do some negotiations now that Mercury has moved into Libra. And I think it's less intense energy than Mercury and Virgo, because Mercury and Virgo is like, I'm right, and here's why. You know, I already figured it out, and it's perfect in my head, so that means it's perfect in general. Mercury and Libra is a little bit, like I said, gentler, softer, more diplomatic. I'm usually open to different perspectives, but I hate confrontation. So I'm like, hey, here's this. And if it goes south, I run. Yeah, like, I'm just going to leave this perspective for you and take it or leave it. That's very Libra energy too. Like, I don't want to ruffle any feathers. So here's my perspective, but I don't want to like force you to believe it, you know? So that's also something to keep in mind. We can be a little bit too, or not assertive enough is the way I want to say that, because we're like, oh, I just want you to like me and I want to be a people pleaser in my communication, but I also have this perspective I want to share, and that's where this kind of like indecisive back and forth weighing the options energy can come in. So don't be afraid with Mercury and Libra to be like, hey, here's my perspective. We can be assertive and direct without being confrontational, and that is an art form, right? Learning how to be like, this is my intention, this is my thought, this is what I believe, this is what I want to put out there. It's okay if you don't buy into it. I won't be offended, but I just need to say my perspective too. Agree. Good to avoid angering people. Always nice to avoid a confrontation personally. I don't have a lot of Aries energy in my chart, so I personally am not a fan of like fighting fire with fire, but there are people out there that are a little bit more feisty and they're like, a battle? Let's go. My dog is, I know it's so funny to use my dog as an example, but he is an Aries, like total Aries with a Leo moon. And it's like anytime he sees other dogs in a confrontation, he's like, let's go. He like runs headfirst into it. Total Aries energy. He's like, I am ready to fight, you know? I'm just like, oh my God. That's like the farthest thing from how I am. It's also the difference in a lot of ways between like masculine and feminine energy. So as we're talking about relationships with Libra energy, understanding the dynamic of the yin and yang, the masculine and feminine too, whereas the feminine often, and this doesn't mean male and female, masculine and feminine energies are within all of us, but often the more feminine person in the relationship is like, I'm just going to leave this here, kind of like Rachel was talking about, and the masculine's like, oh, you're bringing up an alternative perspective? Let's go. You know, it's just a different energy. Let's see. I relate to this so much. Yeah, it's that Mercury and Libra energy. My father is an Aries and an alcoholic. We can just imagine the funny part. Yeah, like angry drunk. But just, I mean, it's true. Like once you start to understand people's energy, it really does help, like being like, oh, you're just an Aries. It's okay. You just like battle. You like confrontation. I'm not that way. I have a stellium in Libra. I am the exact opposite, but it's all good. We need both kinds of people in the world. So that's Mercury and Libra starting tonight. Now let's get into our final transit of the day, which happens at midnight with the waning moon in Leo, the dark moon in Leo. It is the moon opposing Saturn. Not the most fun transit to end on, but that's all. It's all right. It is what it is, right? This is, oh, emergency alert. Okay. All the phones in our house. I don't know if you can hear that. All the phones in our house going off. Something about cell service going down. Interesting. Okay. That was weird. Interesting that happened as we're talking about the moon opposing Saturn. So when the moon opposes Saturn anytime, not just with the moon in Leo, although that's been the case anytime the moon is opposing Saturn, because Saturn has been in Aquarius for a long time. So when the moon is opposing Saturn, we can feel like isolating, being a little depressed, being a little lonely. It's nice that this happens around midnight because most of us will be either asleep, it might be 3 a.m. East Coast time, you're fast asleep, or you're just winding down, just going to bed. Kind of a nice energy to just tuck yourself in early. So when the moon opposes Saturn, yeah, we are very aware of our responsibilities, and that can kind of weigh on us. It can feel like a downer when the moon opposes Saturn. But going within under this dark moon, using the energy of introspection and surrender can also clearly show us, because remember, an opposition can bring positive. It is this make or break energy, and we can clearly face whatever lesson Saturn is trying to teach us. So we can, in this introspective phase, understand what we've been learning in this cycle. Now, it might be heavy. It might be like, oh, wow, I've learned a lot. Often lessons come in the form of hardship or chaos or drama, especially with the Leo moon. So this is just a time, if you're up late tonight and you're finding your energy kind of waning under the waning moon, if you're finding yourself being a little low, depressy, you know, that kind of stuff, just taking the lessons, being like, what have I learned? You know, kind of coming to it from that place. What have I learned this cycle? And not being hard on yourself for how you're feeling, just taking the feeling as it comes. Like, wow, I'm feeling a little low right now. What have I learned that has kind of weighed on me this month? And also surrendering to it. Often just like letting the emotion come up, letting that like, ooh, I'm feeling kind of low right now, can show us, how do I want to feel? What have I learned? What is weighing on me? What do I need to release a little bit more before the new cycle begins? So you might just be tired from the moon opposing Saturn. You might feel a little sad, and that's okay. It's part of the human experience to feel sadness. It's part of the human experience to feel heaviness sometimes, and just appreciating the emotions as they come, because we're meant to feel the full spectrum of feelings, right? We literally can enjoy conversations now, even drunk. I just let him know I won't deal with you being an ass. Boundaries, right? Like, this is my boundary and I'm going to leave if you cross it, like, what a learning opportunity. I'm sure it was not the most fun way to learn these things, but I believe we all have people placed on our path for a reason. You had this person, your father, our souls chose to come into the families we came into, which is so crazy when you have a chaotic family, but you probably learned a lot from him and watching his own patterns and maybe struggles. Everything is okay. Something about cell towers. Yeah, Yolo County. His phone was going off too. I don't know what that was about, but something about wireless service or cell service going out. Who knows? We're all good. We're still streaming here, so it's sunny. Everything is fine. So yeah, that is, but I honestly, the fact that alert went off when we talked about the moon opposing Saturn, again, it's just kind of this analogy of like, alerts could start going off late tonight, like, I'm sad, I'm lonely, like, everything is fine. Everything is fine. It's okay to just feel that emotion for a second. Oh, it was just a test. See, just a test. The moon opposing Saturn testing us. Testing if we've learned the lessons yet. That feels like the energy of the moon opposing Saturn. So that's our forecast today. Let's come back to today's affirmation. I trust in my ability to love. There's a lot of Venus energy we're talking about today, with Venus squaring the north and south nodes. Venus still pulling away from that trine to Chiron, so a lot of healing coming from reflecting on our values. And also with Mercury moving into Libra, there's an element of Venus energy there as well. A lot about relating, loving, attracting, and our values. So I trust in my ability to love. Even in tense moments, if they do pop up today, we can choose love. And I use these words because self-trust has a lot to do with our ability to choose love. Self-trust is huge. Oftentimes we abandon ourselves, or, we think like, oh, I'm not good enough for this, or I can't handle this situation because this person is triggering me. I trust in my ability to choose love in those moments. I trust in my ability in general to love. We all have such capacity for love, and I think often we forget that, and we get wrapped up in the stories we tell ourselves or what other people are doing or how they're treating us. But we're here to love. We're here to feel all the things, but I really believe first and foremost we are here to love other people, to receive love, and you have so much love to give and receive. So trust in that ability today. And we'll end with our card pull. This feels very Venus vibes, the Rose Oracle. So we'll pull from this deck by Rebecca Campbell. And as we do every day, I invite you to share any more reflections, any more questions you have about the current energy. Let me know what your plans are today. How are you going to invite more love into your day today? I love this deck too. It's her newest deck, and it's so beautiful. The illustrations, all of her decks. She just does a phenomenal job. I love Rebecca Campbell's work. And she has several books too that I've been wanting to read. One of the books is called Rise, Sister, Rise. And it's all about how women are here to rise together. She has letters to a starseed, letters from a starseed. I think it's letters to a starseed, because she also is the woman behind the Starseed Oracle. Oh, you have it, and you love the story she has with it. Yeah. And this deck was really beautiful. I don't know if all of her decks have this, but it has this attunement card that you can like put on your altar when you pull a card, and it has an attunement you can say. There's just so much intention behind all of her work. Her story about how she came up with loving roses. I don't know if I read that part. But the rose, what's so funny is I randomly got the urge to watch Alice in Wonderland this weekend, so I hadn't watched it in years, decades. And the part where Alice is, she meets all the flowers and they sing a little song about the different kinds of flowers. And I noticed that the rose is the conductor of the floral chorus. You know, the rose is the leader of the flowers, and I think that's really beautiful. There's this element of wisdom and maturity and like this queen vibe that comes with the rose. This sounds like a perfect birthday. Watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer on Comet TV. Yep, we love Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I love Sarah Michelle Gellar. One time in elementary school, this is how much this meant to me. This guy told me that I had Sarah Michelle Gellar vibes, and I have carried that with me since. I was like, thank you. That is the ultimate compliment. I love it. Celebrating 1 year of being homeowners. Amazing. Amazing. Congratulations. That is an amazing accomplishment. So excited for you. And you did it. You've been there 1 year. A year ago, you were probably like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're doing this. And you've proven to yourself that you can handle a mortgage. How awesome. All right. Let's all take a deep breath together. Here we go. Breathe in and exhale. What do we need to know? Lineage of the rose, moved by the goddess, here for this, soul call, gather. All right. Love this. It's like women praying around the rose. Let's see what the guidebook says. Lineage of the rose. These times, these changing, divisive times, your soul chose to be here right now for this. You're part of a collective team led by the goddess, by the mother of us all, to reweave the thread of the rose back into the tapestry of humanity, to make space where all people feel cherished and safe, to heal and be healed from the destructive patterns of patriarchy, to be part of the return of the goddess to the earth. If you've been doubting your path, you're being called to look within and trust the whispers and weavings from caverns deep. The way of the mystic rose is walked by few and known by heart, not mind. Try not to overthink, rather trust the threads that are woven deep. This card contains within it a confirmation of the inner call and a reassurance that you're not alone in it. The mother of us all thanks you for being part of these changing times for humanity. She acknowledges your devotion to doing your best to support yourself and others in the journey back home, to themselves, to each other, and to the earth. She wants you to know that she is available to guide you every step of the way. Speak, sing, and dance with her. You are led, you are led, you are led. How are you being called to commit more deeply to humanity and to the earth? This feels so beautiful. I specifically the line, try not to overthink, rather trust the threads that are woven deep. Really feels like the energy of Mercury moving into Libra. Today, Mercury at the anaretic degree, you might find yourself overthinking, but trusting in your ability to love. Trust the threads that are woven deep. Trust that if you follow loving energy, if you let love lead the way, that is wisdom in itself. It might not rationally make sense, but let love lead the way. And especially if you are at a turning point in relationships, trusting your heart, going back to the earth, asking for guidance. You know, it ends with you are led, you are led, you are led. Asking for guidance if you are at a turning point and following your heart rather than your mind today. I love this so much. Especially when it says these changing, divisive times. Your soul chose to be here right now for this. We need more people in the world that are leading with their hearts, that are leading with love, that can handle those debates, maybe even divisive conversations, and still show up with love. Not let our rational mind take over or our ego take over and be like, well, this is how I feel, so this is the right way. And instead being like, my heart is big enough and I have enough love to see your perspective, even though it's different from mine, and understand that both can exist at the same time. And we can still love each other even if we see the world differently, especially because we see the world differently. We can love each other. And that is the energy we need right now. You can look at someone on the other side of the aisle with other political beliefs than you, with other religious beliefs than you, and say like, I love you. I love you just because you're here on earth and you're a human and your soul chose to come here at the same time as my soul chose to come here. that is some of the hardest work we can do, but coming back to love, trusting in our ability to love people with different perspectives than us. That is the work we're here to do. That's why you all are here, bettering yourselves every day, having these reflections every day. I'm not here to tell you how to be a better human. You just decide to show up and reflect on what's happening with the planets. I'm just the messenger. So just a reminder, your capacity to love is even bigger than you think. And if you find yourself in a debate or kind of stuck in your way, it's just the universe pushing you along that path, having that turning point in love today of how can I love even more? How can I love even deeper in the moments when my perspective, my view is being tested and challenged? I love that card. And I love you all for being here. I don't know what this means, SMG. Speaking of people who I love that challenge me, have different perspectives than me. SMG, what does this mean? One of my favorite lyrics from a song is, I'll give you roses, just hoping you don't see the weeds in my garden. Don't hide who you are. Love everything about you and everyone else. I'm so glad you shared that. I'll give you roses, just hoping you don't see the weeds in my garden. So good. Very Virgo energy, right? Don't see my imperfections. Don't see my imperfections, but here are the roses. Oh, of course. Sarah Michelle Gellar. You know, if you had said SJP, I would have been like, okay, I know. But Sarah Michelle Gellar doesn't get the abbreviation as much as Sarah Jessica Parker. That's an aside, but I get it now. Thank you. I will take it. I hope I have more like Buffy the Vampire Slayer vibes, you know, if instead of a vampire slayer, she was an astrologer. That's what I'm going for, really. You know, I love that show. Nick, I hope you have the best time watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer for your birthday, because it really is. It's a classic. It's kind of cheesy, but in the best possible way. All right, everybody. Thank you. Just keep complimenting me. I will take it. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for this episode of Transits today. I hope that this provided you some clarity, helped you get into that Venusian Libra energy today, helped you align with love just a little bit more as you embark on your day. Thanks, Nick. Sounds like some deep, profound truth communicated here today. Maybe you could hang out with Willow. You know, my dog is named Willow. So clearly I'm just the 2022 Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I guess, and Willow is my sidekick. How funny. Wow, I love you all. I hope you have a great day. I will see you right back here tomorrow morning to chat about the energy ahead. I can't even tell you what's coming up tomorrow right now. It's not even in my brain. I am just here in the present moment with you all, sharing so much love to start our Thursday. I hope to see you right back here tomorrow morning, but until I see you next, have a beautiful day and stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.